What was D-Day? Chapter 8. Leaders, step up. Look at all the mines in the water. Soldiers who are injured, dying. Look, that's a sign of a medic. Some dying. Okay, let's read it. An hour into the invasion, things seemed hopeless for the Allies at Omaha. The battle was at a complete standstill. Wounded and dead filled the beach. Survivors huddled up in groups wherever they could escape enemy fire. Many of them were wounded and without weapons. All were weak and exhausted. How had it come to this? We were a proud outfit. We were well trained, well disciplined, and believed that nobody could defeat us, said Hal Baumgarten. He said there were these guys stacked up, dead, and of course the blood was all over the place. It was horrible. Then, just when defeat seemed certain, leaders rose among the men. Individual soldiers acting on their own at separate spots stepped forward and got the attack moving again. At 7:30 a.m., First Lieutenant William Moody was hiding at the bottom of the cliffs with about 25 other guys. They huddled inside shallow sea caves dug out by the water. For the moment, they were safely out of range of the German gunners firing from the cliffs ahead. See? Here are the cliffs up here, and they're hiding in here. Okay, we're going to read about this right here. Deadly fire. Mortar is a portable cannon that fires exploding shells. The mortar fire hitting the Normandy beaches killed Allied troops in two ways. Shrapnel, bits, hot metal flew out from the explosions at 7,000 miles per hour. It's like 1,000 different bullets going every place at the same time, explained Marine Sergeant William Baudet. The mortar is also released blasts of air pushing outward at super high speeds. One such blast wounded Hal Baumgarten on Omaha Beach. It felt like somebody hit me with a baseball bat, he reported, in surviving D-Day. Look at that. They're climbing up a cliff. It looks like this is a knife into the rock wall. Moody decided to do something, anything but sit and wait. How could he move his men up the cliff and fight back? The rock was much too steep to climb where they were. Moody motioned for two soldiers to follow him. Soon they were hiking along the base of the cliffs in search of a better spot to climb. A few hundred yards away, they discovered a crack that ran from the top of the cliff to the bottom. See the crack from the top to the bottom? Moody jabbed his bayonet into the cliff's face and pulled himself up a few feet. Doing it again, he pulled up a few feet more. The two soldiers behind him followed suit. Somehow the three men reached the top without setting off landmines. Wow. Wow. So they were climbing, just putting a knife into a crack in the side of a cliff. So here they are. Omaha. It wasn't good. Wasn't good. A lot of people died. A lot of people got injured. They couldn't get around. Look, lots of dead Allies. But they said, come on, let's get ready. And look, they're climbing up the crack. There were only three, so maybe I should take these guys out. Okay, the next part is going to be very exciting. Ooh, a survivor at Omaha. Among the first soldiers to arrive at Omaha was Private Hal Baumgarten. Just 19 years old. He's younger than Mary Kate by 1 year. He was one of two men in his landing boat to survive. The others were killed or wounded when they stepped into the opening of the exit ramp. Hal's life was saved when he tripped and fell into the water. But enemy fire would hit Hal 5 times during the next 32 hours. Half of his cheek was ripped off by mortar blast. Still, Hal kept moving forward. After war, he wrote his memories of that terrible battle. Hal believed his life had been spared so that he could be the first spokesman for those true heroes who perished on D-Day. We're going to have to look him up. All right. You guys should probably draw a picture of Hal. What a guy. Here you go. Look at that. What did they throw down? What are these? We're going to learn. At the top, they pounded in stakes and let the rope ladders down to the ground. These are rope ladders. Moody ran along the cliff to place directly above where the soldiers waited in caves. The men stared up at the impossible. Lieutenant Moody had somehow made it to the top. That's determination. The soldiers took off running in the direction to which Moody pointed until they found the hanging ladders, leaning far back on the rope poles. The soldiers monkey-walked their way up the rock. We're going to have to look and see what monkey walk is, and I think we're going to have to practice that. Though a German bullet killed Moody later that day, he was remembered as D-Day hero, the man to lead the first unit on Omaha to reach high ground. Though Moody's group had made it uphill, hundreds of other soldiers at Omaha were still stuck on the beach. Many of them were huddling along a seawall that ran the length of the beach, about 2/3 of the way to the bluffs. The seawall, which stood about 5 feet high, was the only place to hide on the open beach. Dazed and confused, the soldiers were a jumbled mix of units. Most of their leaders, usually the first ones off boats, were missing or dead. The tide was quickly creeping and covering. They're hiding. Find out where they're hiding. Looks like a tank with the missiles. This guy's running. See who they are. By the shore. By 9:30 a.m., seawater already covered most of Omaha Beach. That left the men pinned in two sides. Ahead of them were German gunners. Behind them, the rising tide. General Norman Dutch Koda was watching the men through binoculars from a boat offshore. At 51, Koda was the oldest soldier at Omaha. As a general, he was supposed to stay on the ship and radio in commands. But this was crisis time. Dutch tossed the rules, grabbed a gun, and waded to shore. The men stuck in the seawall suddenly looked out to see the stocky man running across the beach, smoking a cigar. He was fearless, a soldier recalled. At the seawall, Koda inspired the men into action. He spoke these now famous words: "Gentlemen, we are being killed on the beaches. Let us go inland and be killed." So he was ready to do whatever it took. Soon the soldiers were picking up weapons on the beach, finding helmets, and cleaning the sand from their rifles. A tangled mass of spiky barbed wire planted by the enemy blocked the way forward. The men blasted holes through the sharp wire with a torpedo and dynamite, and then dashed for the bluffs. A rain of German bullets killed many, but Koda led the rest up the bluff. Finally, they could meet the enemy face to face. There's Dutch. So let's go. We got this. All right? That was fun. See you later, guys.